Hi, and welcome back to Collecting Canadian Cavalry and Armour. Today we're going to look at a few of the trade badges and a couple of odds and ends, kind of a companion piece to our last episode. Now, first of all, I want to apologize for no episode last Sunday. We had a technical difficulty with the camcorder, and it's still acting up a little bit, so I apologize for that. So today we're going to take, like I said, take a look at some of the trade badges, and a lot of the information can be found in Darby Whitebone's book on Canadian trade badges. So trade badges are they're universal with all over the forces, the Canadian forces. They came into being really used a lot in the 1950s on the old battle dress, and then they reinstituted them again, I believe probably in the 80s on the garrison dress and on the new distinctive environmental uniforms, the DEUs. And then they're using them now on the temperate CADPAT uniforms. And we'll take a look at that and a few other things. So let's have a look. So here we have on the top is actually a Second World War trade badge, and this is for the first class tank driver. Very nice. Now I do have one in my collection that's all black. I haven't seen any reference material for it. I haven't seen anything in the British Army stuff either. It's just kind of interesting. So down here we have Royal Canadian Armoured Corps tank gunner, Group 1 and Group 2. There was never any Group 3 or 4. And this is very much a stylized Sherman tank turret. Down here we have the driver mechanic tracked. Group 1 and Group 2, again, no Group 3 and 4. And again, looks very similar, stylized, of course, to the tracks on a Sherman tank. We come down here, and this is a Group 2 Royal Canadian Armoured Corps gunner signaler. There is a Group 1, I haven't been able to track it down yet. So if you have one out there, please let me know in the comments, and we'll see if we can't work something out. But gunner signaler, a very important job within the Corps. And over here, we have what's called a Royal Canadian Armoured Corps specialist. I honestly don't know what the qualifications would be, but you can see now that we've moved up to the Centurion tank. And this didn't come in group 1, 2, or 4. It just had the Centurion there with the crown. So guys, in the 80s, they revived the trade badges again, and here we can see three different types. We have these ones up top here. These are still worn on the distinctive environmental uniform, the DEU, the dress uniform. These ones are the same, but you'll notice how it's kind of an old gold or a duller gold thread. These were worn on the garrison dress jackets, and I'll show you an example of that in a few minutes of garrison dress with the trade badge on them. I'm not sure how the criteria has actually changed a couple of times from you are a driver or a gunner. If you were driver and gunner, you got this, but now we're in the recce, and there was some different recce trade badges that came out with the Ferret Scout car. Those are hard to find. They were just a prototype. They were thinking of using those for the reconnaissance guys. But of course, budget cuts, we'll just use the Leopard tank on everything. And by the way, yes, this is a stylized Leopard 1 main battle tank. Down here, you can see the temperate CADPAT trade badges. Again, and the same for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But on the back of these, we've got Velcro. Those things just go right on the upper sleeve of the CADPAT uniform. There is another one that's just come out. I haven't been able to get my hands on one. I tried to get one out of the kit shop the other day, but they couldn't find it. And that's called a Royal Canadian Armoured Corps Direct Fire Specialist. Don't know much else about it, but I'm assuming it would be something like the old Master Gunner's course. So anyway, these are the new trade badges. So here we have some of the cloth rank badges for the officers. You can see this one is the Tudor crown or King's crown, and we have the Queen's crown here. And then the pips. Now they're on yellow background because that's the color of the Corps. Okay, so all of the Armored Corps officers back during the days of the battle dress, like up until the late 60s, this would be the ranks that they were wearing. This is obviously World War II or up until about 1952. And hopefully we'll get back to wearing these again now that we're back to crowns and pips. Down here you'll see a couple of stylized Centurion tanks. These, unfortunately, these ones I have don't have any lugs on the back, but these were locally produced at the tank school, and they came in both left and right, and they were worn on the sleeves of the battle dress by the instructors that were on staff at the Corps. Up here we have just a couple of buttons I threw in just for general interest. They have the King's Crown or the Tudor Crown, which means that these were from about 1946, or when we became the Royal Canadian Armoured Corps, up until around 1952. Now, of course, these dates vary a little bit depending on manufacturer and when these things actually became available. Just because the Queen ascended the throne in 1952 doesn't mean that they change things right away. They're going to use up old stock, and that still happens today. And here we just have a nice Armored Corps lapel pin. Kind of nice. Here we just have a small selection of the epaulet titles. Now these would go onto a separate slip-on that would go onto the epaulet. And we see this one here for the old combat uniform, Royal Canadian Armoured Corps. We have this one here, which is probably for the dress shirt, the pale green dress shirt for the DEUs, again RCAC. And this one is the French version that I'm not going to even try to butcher because my French is absolutely horrible. But you can see that that's on the tempered CAD-PAT background. So if you're interested in just collecting these, there's a nice little variety of stuff. It would make a nice little display. Now up here we have the metal shoulder title. You can see on the back it has the lugs, and it's in white metal. All of the RCAC ones, that were in general use, were all in white metal. Now I have heard that there was a very early version in brass. I haven't seen those though. These are the ones that they wear today. And you'll see on the back, these are actually a screw post that would go through the back, like go through the epaulet on the dress uniform. And these ones would be worn, all of this RCAC stuff, if you were on staff at the Armored School, which is now in Gagetown, New Brunswick at the Combat Training Center. Lovely place, you ought to go there a few times. And or if you were just out of recruit school and you were going there to start learning your trade stuff before you ended up as part of a regiment, you would end up wearing something like this. Now, the last thing we're going to take a quick look at here is this wonderful belt buckle. Now, this is a presentation belt buckle that I picked up quite a few years ago, and you'll notice that it's the King's Crown or the Tudor's Crown on here. Beautiful chromed belt buckle. Would have been worn on the web belt, probably the blackened web belt that the RCAC adopted. Now, the neat thing about this is on the back, you can see here that this was presented to a Trooper Leduc. And again, this is all in French, so it must have been a French seal that they were going through, but you can see that it was serial, I think it says 14 on there, but it's a really nice example of a presentation belt buckle for somebody that probably topped their course. And it's a wonderful part of my collection. I'm really happy and honored to have it. So just to give you an idea of where these trade badges were worn, you can see behind me we've got the old garrison dress that was used in the 80s. And you can see here on the right sleeve, just above the cuff, is where the trade badge is located. Cool stuff. So it was a quick little overview of trade badges and a couple other little knickknacks that I have in my collection. Like I said, there's so many things to collect for the Canadian Cavalry and Armour that and all kinds of different facets. You don't have to go crazy like I did and start to collect everything. There's lots of little things that you can collect. Anyway, please like and subscribe. That would help us out, and happy collecting.